You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live, This Week. Featuring news and commentary on This Week in Black Hollywood. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live This Week, Dario Kristen.
Hey everyone, you're watching Black Hollywood Live This Week. I'm your host, Dario Kristen, and here joining me in the studio today is Courtney Stewart.
What's up, everybody?
DJ Jesse J.
What's up?
And on the show today, we have a variety of different topics, including Fruitville Station star Michael B. Jordan is joining the cast of Fantastic Four. Whoa,
Shocking.
Exciting. Arsenio Hall is upset over a late night snub, and the family of slain teen Jordan Davis is calling for justice. But first, we are going to read last week's Buzz Meter question, which was, Bill Robinson and Shirley Temple were claimed as the first interracial tap dancing couple for what movie? You guys voted. Here were the...
Y'all got it wrong.
They got it wrong, but here are the different categories.
Majority.
Little Princess, 35%. Curly Top, 29%. Little Colonel, 26%. And Little Rebel, 10%. And the answer is, Jesse, dun 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 dun.
Little Colonel.
Dude, he wasn't even in Little Princess.
Couldn't they just look up
Well,
the
that-
results? Phil, we're not promoting.
We're
No,
not
we
wanting them
talked
to
about
do
this, and I
that.
appreciate
Yeah.
you guys for not doing that.
Yeah, we
Clearly
were
you
trying
didn't.
to test the knowledge, Phil. That's our producer,
That's
Phil,
what this is
saying
about. It's on the
he's
spot.
encouraging people to go cheat for answers. We don't need to
Phil,
do all
what
that.
is that? What we
We're
promoting?
trying to
It's
test
not
their
about what
knowledge.
you know.
It
It's
is.
about what you do when you don't know.
Okay, whatever.
Okay,
well,
well,
now that
that's
they
the
know
lesson
they
for the
don't
day.
know, you should go
But
watch
this
the
ain't that
movies.
kind of game.
This is
And
not
so
that
don't
kind of game.
don't do it for this next week question, because I want to know if y'all know.
I want to know if you know too. So the question
I
for
wanna know
next
if
week
you
is,
know.
what was the first American colony to abolish slavery? Here are the multiple choice. A, Pennsylvania. B, Massachusetts Bay. C, Vermont. D, Delaware. You guys vote, and we will read those results next week. I think I know the answer, actually. I think, but I'm not going to say.
I'm gonna say.
Well, we'll test you later.
I can tell. I
Okay.
know you tested already. All right. So first up with this week's trending topics, we have DJ Jesse J reporting. What you got for us?
Well, Jada Pinkett Smith is coming to the small screen in a, well, I guess it's not a reboot. It's a new pilot coming out called Gotham. It's a prequel, I guess, to Batman. She's going to be playing Fish Mooney, a notorious hot-headed gangster who owns one of the nightclubs in the show. And basically the series will follow Commissioner James Gordon as a rookie detective, and then we'll see Bruce Wayne. So it's going to be from his perspective versus Batman's.
I can't wait.
I can see her as like that type of character.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
She stays working,
Good
'cause-
job. She hasn't been on TV since
What was it?
Hawthorne.
Was it Hawthorne? And that was on.
Well,
what,
and
2
she
years?
also
That was in
executive
2011.
produces Queen Latifah's show.
She
Yes.
does. You're right. Now, is she producing or executive producing anything for this show, or just a cast member?
Just cast member.
Just cast.
Yes.
She needs to calm down.
Well, she doesn't need the money, so.
Okay. Moving on, another hard female worker is Miss Khalees. Got all that money, didn't know what to do it. I'm just kidding. Although I'm not.
That was a read.
But I'm just saying, well, anyways, let's talk about the positive before I start reading her for Phil. But so basically, I never knew she graduated from Le Cordon Bleu Culinary School.
I had no
I
idea.
did not know
That's why
that.
the story was so shocking.
Right?
I was like,
That's why she
"What?"
knows about how her milkshakes shake.
Oh, honey.
That's
I'm pretty
actually-
sure
that's
that
funny.
ain't how she.
Well, yeah.
I'm sure you're right. I'm sure
And I
that's,
don't want any of
I'm
those
sure that's
flavors.
not how. I'm sure that's not what brought all the boys to the yard. So yeah.
Well, it might, because
Well, the food
apparently
does.
it was so. She's such a good chef that she's going to get her own cooking special on the Food Network, on the Cooking Channel. Basically, it's called Saucy and Sweet. It's set to debut February 26th at 8:30 p.m. And I never knew how obsessed with food she is. She's actually also titling her album called Food, and it's dedicated to her food obsession.
Well, that might be smart, especially with the timing. I mean, hopefully it's good
cross-marketing.
music. I've always been a fan of Khalees. I mean, I always thought she had an interesting sound, and she was different. She was like the female Pharrell with that sound, anyway. Obviously, she wasn't a producer, but with that sound. But she's kind of cool. She's a cool little rock and roll chick.
So basically what they said is it'll be she'll have a bunch of friends over to celebrate the new album, and it's basically the special is her prepping
Ooh.
the meal.
I want to be your friend
Yeah.
and come eat your
Invite
food
BHL.
and listen.
Seems cool.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
should
we'll come
out.
right up in your house and eat for free.
We make this
We
awesome.
most certainly
We
can do that.
love it.
We love to do
For
that.
free.
For free.
And she also has a line of sauces coming out called Feast. So she's
Sauces.
Well, maybe she
Okay.
took that Nas money and invested in her future.
Obviously.
instead of bosses, she's saucy.
Okay.
Moving on, Terrence Howard is also headed to television with a new show called Empire. It's Fox's new hip hop themed drama pilot. It's directed by Lee Daniels with writer Danny Strong and Brian Grazer. I don't know. I mean, those are great directors, people
Yeah.
working behind the scene. I don't know if you guys remember back in the day. And I can't, you guys are like, why are you even comparing them? Remember Sticky Fingers? Used to
Yeah.
be on
Yeah.
that drama TV show. It was the hip hop, I can't remember what it was called.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
I liked it. Didn't do very well on the network.
I don't remember that.
I
It
remember.
was when I first realized that we had a moment together. But,
You and Sticky?
You and
yeah, Platinum. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
Oh, I do
I remember. It wasn't
that.
on for a long time, I don't
No.
think.
It was on for I think one season, but I think
yeah.
it got canceled before the season ended.
Yeah, I feel like
I liked it, but it
I
just
do
didn't
remember
do
that. Yeah.
well.
Well, that was very like belly, like.
Yeah,
It was
Yeah,
belly-ish.
that was in that genre. So yeah, I'll be interested to see what they do with Empire.
Yeah, I mean, this is a winning team. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, Terrence, he's another one. He's always working and getting a role, and you know, with Danny and Lee behind it, I think that could be interesting twist to it.
Yeah, and I mean the story is
It's all about the
started
writing.
from the bottom, now I'm here type situation, and Terrence can do that.
Well,
he
Terrence
did
bust any
hustle and
moves.
flow, boo.
Right.
Right, he did hustle and flow.
And that's all I got. Everyone's coming to TV.
Everyone's coming to TV. That's where the new money is.
And so after you guys watch your favorite TV shows, make sure you guys tune over to AfterBuzz TV, our sister network. We cover every single TV. Well, not every single TV show, only really like the good
A
ones.
lot of them.
But I mean, if you watch it, we cover it.
We probably
Let's just
cover
put it because there's some. That's all I meant. There's some TV shows that we be watching and be like, no one needs to talk about that. But that
Some
ain't
of
us
them
over
we say
at
the same
AfterBuzz.
thing of, and we still cover.
We still cover them.
Yeah, I
All
mean,
All right, thanks, Jesse. All right, Courtney, what do you got for us with gossip and rumors this week?
brought your maroon socks
Gossip
today.
rumors in real life. Okay, so we're back on the whole TV thing. Lots of things going on in TV this week. One of them was the lovely and delightful Jimmy Fallon took over the Tonight Show and did a very, very quite brilliant job, I personally thought. And everybody was all abuzz trying to figure out how well it was going to go, looking at his ratings, how did he do, blah, 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 blah. And apparently Nightly News, Brian Williams decided, I want to do a little story about this. So Mr. Brian Williams did a story about the late night works and the great hosts of late night and posted this wonderful picture of all the late night hosts, but he left somebody out.
Oh, he put Carson Daly.
He had, and Arsenio Hall was the one left out, guys. And yeah, he put Carson Daly up on there.
Is George Lopez in there?
No.
I mean, it's
obviously
actually
there's
several that aren't
several
on this
that
list.
aren't on there, but in terms of like current people that are on the air, like type of thing, like
Just saying.
Arsenio was a pretty big one to be leaving out. And so Arsenio was like, yo, I'm not happy. And so he followed the next night after the Nightly News show aired, Arsenio decided to bring a friend on his show to sort of be funny, but it kind of didn't really
work.
turn out to be funny. He brought Suge Knight
Yeah, I
to
saw
the
that.
studio. Supposedly Suge Knight didn't follow script, and it was supposed to be like a joke, like Brian, like, yo, how you just gonna leave me off type thing. And it kind of got a little awkward and serious. Like, Suge is scary, guys.
Yeah, not good.
Suge is scary. But it did apparently get word back to Mr. Brian Williams over at NBC Nightly News, and they issued an apology the very next night, apologizing for leaving him out. But in the apology, they also apologized for like all the other things that they make mistakes on, like, ooh, we didn't write New Hampshire on this map, and somebody got really upset about it. So I felt like
they
it kind of
made-
watered the apology.
They kind of
down.
made fun of the apology.
Yeah, it was kind of made a joke of. And Arsenio actually took it in stride and kind of was like, thanks for the apology. Ha ha ha. Like he seemed to like take it kindly, and I personally thought it was more of a dig the way they did the
Yeah,
apology.
to me, it seemed like a dig. It was like, yeah, we're gonna give you this apology, but we're not really giving you the apology.
Yeah, they basically said, we're not perfect. We left so-and-so off of
Right.
this. We left this off of this. We're not done.
Right.
It wasn't like, dude, you're great. We love you. I'm sorry.
Right. It was almost like you're being too dramatic about this. That's how I
Exactly.
felt.
See, but I'm just looking at like those are the people you pick.
Chelsea Handler's on there, even though I love Chelsea.
Me too, but like I don't know.
Nonetheless, he apologized. Arsenio accepted.
Well, Arsenio should have been on there. You know, I mean, there are several, like we said, that should have been included. But if anyone, Arsenio should have been on there. And it's not like you have that many African Americans to choose from the pool to mess up on. So
Well,
at least remember.
That's why he forgot, because there's just not a lot of them. So, you know.
Yeah, but at least
sometimes-
remember the.
He
the
forgot
main
there was even one.
Remember the main one. That's all I'm saying. Remember the main one,
I
Brian.
mean, we're not asking you to put Monique on there. but
Right.
then-
We didn't say Queen Latifah, although Queen Latifah didn't do late night.
She didn't do late night.
She didn't do late night.
Monique did, though.
Monique did.
She did that show for a minute.
Tavis Smiley does late night.
Nobody cares. Just kidding.
Just saying. I'm just saying if we throw with facts.
Well,
Just saying.
Arsenio, great job on at least keeping it classy. He didn't take it too far. He was able to seemingly laugh it off a little bit. So.
Magic Johnson did late night. I'm just saying. The names keep coming.
Moving on.
We need you to calm down.
All right. I'm just. It's Black
list
History Month. We can't be forgetting
All
our
Black
people.
peop- I think that's probably why it also looks.
Yeah, I'm like, if any month, don't forget it, Black History Month.
Geez, it's Black History Month. At least remember that. Speaking of black people and all the haterade going towards them, Michael B. Jordan is getting a little extra attention right now because word on the street is that he has been cast as Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, in Fox's reboot of the Fantastic Four. But a whole lot of people were mad, and some people were glad. But a lot of people was real mad, and they took to Twitter to share their anger. I'll just read you one example. Mr. Dragon Ball Z. I'm sorry, that like made you irrelevant already. But his comment goes, getting somebody black to play Johnny Storm and somebody white to play Susan Storm is the equivalent of getting a white guy to play Malcolm X.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'll leave my comments for afterwards.
Yep, I will too.
Okay. There were many of those comments, but on the flip side, there were also excited comments / okay, I'm interested in multiculturalism type comments. And one of them came from Elon James White, who said, nothing about the character Johnny Storm needs to be white. He's a pretty boy who's impulsive and likes the ladies. None of that is white.
Okay, but he didn't really help the
Yeah,
situation.
that didn't really. I was waiting for the extra little sentence that really just reads the last comment and makes it relevant.
Well,
but
they're
that
not
one,
commenting on each other. They're just commenting on the, the issue.
that's true.
They weren't
That's true.
commenting on each other. They
That's
weren't
true.
responses to each other.
That's
So there's support out there, obviously, but there was quite a bit of anger and hostility towards the fact that Michael B. Jordan would be cast as this character.
So the biggest problem that most people are having is the fact that originally the character is white and that they're casting him now as black. And okay, I mean, can I comment now, or do you have more
I mean, you
quotes?
can comment. We're always free for comments. Go.
I mean, that's just silly. It's to me, it's okay. First off, that was the character who played the original character. It was
Chris
Evans.
Evans.
Okay, technically, Chris Evans, Jessica Alba played his sister. She's Latina, and he's non-Latina or Latin. So no one had a problem with that from the original.
To the
film?
world, Jessica Alba's white.
Yeah, they dyed her hair blonde, whereas she was a white
And
girl.
she was clearly
she didn't- to me, she
denouncing
still looked
her
very
Alba.
ethnic.
That's because you're ethnic.
Right.
White folks think Jessica Alba white.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you're right. So all right, but it's already defeating
Alba,
my
I thought
argument.
she was Polish.
Right, that's true. I mean, okay, you know what? You're right, because there are some people who even thought that Rashida Jones was white. So that's fine. But I still
It's like that.
that is taken away from my argument. But I still think that it's just it's not
I'm not
intelligent
mad at
to.
I'm not mad.
I'm not mad at people being mad at because, and here's why the Malcolm X comment. I understand where he was coming from. You have to understand, this is a comic book world. These people are obsessed. This is a story that has been around forever.
So what does that have to do with
So
race?
that's like saying, okay, well, you know what? Malcolm X did this for his people.
But why are
and
we
th-
comparing Malcolm X to a comic? I don't. That's where.
But you're saying that to Dragon Ball Z, that is his Malcolm X. Like comic books are like a religion to people. So when you go in there and they don't like when you change, people don't watch the series of Batman because Christopher Nolan didn't do it exactly the way that the books are. Like they're that tied to it. So I'm not mad at them for saying, I'm mad at the fact like, why do we have to take a character who's already known as that? What if Storm, someone came in and put Storm as white? Everyone would bug out and be like, well, Storm's been black this whole time. They gotta take all the black characters out and put in the white. So I just think create a new character who's a superhero who's African American versus taking somebody who already has fan bases and ties, and it's like they're not looking at him from that. I don't know. I don't think it's a full. I mean, it is race based, but I don't think it's of hatred towards black people or taking. I think it's more about the character of who it is, and these people. Dragon Ball Z does not want to see that. They bug out about Smallville. Smallville's lasted so long because it followed the comic book script. And that's why the fan base stuck to it so hard because they committed to that.
And I get that. I do get that. And I respect that. It's just, I don't know, it's still something to me that's like, it goes deep where it's like, why can't you change the ethnicity of the person if I just don't think it's the same as them comparing it to Malcolm X because I think that that's just a totally different.
Yeah.
Like that is a historic figure in the black community who was fighting racism versus someone who is a comic book character.
It sounds
Fictional
crazy.
character.
It sounds crazy to do that, right?
Yeah, it
in
sounds
their
crazy to
mind,
me.
that sounds crazy that you would have this character who's been around for years and years and years, and you just gonna all of a sudden change it to that'd be like taking him out and putting him a female in. You know what I mean? Saying,
Right.
oh, she had a
Okay.
sister.
I'll let that one slide.
They really like are that serious about it.
I'll let it slide a little bit
and
more.
we do AfterBuzz TV, so y'all know.
People are serious
these
about it.
shows.
You know,
Serious.
I mean, I do Walking Dead and let something change with anything with the comic book and people go mad. I get it. I'm just saying that it's a fine line because it's like when it was during Hunger Games when they cast a little black girl to be the character on Hunger Games. It was a big deal because people found out that they made the character black, and it's like that's why I was like, is this one of those type of situations? But maybe not. I'm not going to always go to everything is going to be a racial motive.
This
you know?
this
Well,
whole
it is racially motivated.
Yeah, no,
I
it
mean,
is.
he's known as a white character. I assume he's a white character in the comic book. I don't read the Fantastic Four comic book, so I get it. Like, it's fine because I would be angry if Storm was white.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If they made Storm white, I would be mad. But I think I would be mad because I feel like there's such a lack of like black superhero characters. Why make that one
But there are.
white?
That's the thing.
It's
That's
just
the
a
thing.
matter of them bringing them to screen.
yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like to
So-
screen. I'm sorry.
Because the
to
Green
screen.
Hornet, that's a character where you could have gone both ways because there is a black Green Hornet in the comics and there is a white Green Hornet.
Right.
So that one, there probably could have been less controversy. This is like, I don't know. It's just, I'm not saying it's right for people. Like the things people are saying are crazy.
Yeah.
But it's really just they're so obsessed with this world,
Yeah.
and you can't tamper with it.
Well, they're talking about making. They were at times they're talking about making James Bond, giving Idris the character as James
he
Bond. James Bond's been white for years.
Yeah.
Like, so is that like?
No,
does that open
honestly,
it up to be
I think
okay
it's
to
no.
say
I think that's a little
racial
differently. Honestly, I
silly
think
thing?
that's a
I think
little
it's
different.
a little different because I don't know all the history of the James Bond but I think there's room to move that around in a way that the comic world is just very specific and their characters are very specific and they have already been developed in a whole universe in a way that a lot of other characters are not. So do I applaud Hollywood for being like, let's use some creative license and do this? Yes. Do I understand why these people are upset? I also do because like I said, I can't have a double standard. I would be upset if they cast a
Okay.
white woman as Storm. So
You're right.
Or if here, the perfect is Spawn. If Spawn was to have been
exactly.
white, you know what I mean? Like it's just that's who the character is. Like
But
bring the Black
my
Panther.
argument still is
actual
the fact
Marvel.
that there's always so many non-black characters. So for someone to
No,
be
but the thing
replaced-
is that there are, but Hollywood isn't bringing those stories to the screen. Like the Black Panther is literally would be the perfect person because the history that comic
no,
book
and I get it.
represents.
That's my point, though. Maybe I'm not explaining it correctly. That's what I mean. I get it. There are a lot that aren't developed, but the fact that just that point exactly, there aren't a lot that are developed. So the ones that happen to change because there aren't a lot already developed. Why is it such a big deal? But I also get it. If I was looking at Storm and they cast, Scarlett Johansson, as much as I love her, if they cast her as Storm, I might be a little pissed off.
A little bit.
I'm just saying, let's get some new heroes.
Let's just start.
Stop
Let's get some
rebooting
new writing.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
It's
get
done
some
like
new writing.
800 times. Like,
Yeah.
do another story. Get some new ideas, guys.
But that's yeah. But shout out to I'm assuming Tim Story is still a part of doing these.
I actually don't know
I
that
don't
he's
know.
attached to
He's not
these.
attached to this. Okay. I
I
was
Yeah.
gonna
don't
say
know.
congratulations.
I'm not saying
I mean,
he's not-
congratulations
is or
to Michael B.
isn't, but
Jordan,
whoever it is.
because you've been
That's a great
booking up,
franchise to get a part
Yes.
of, and
and you've been
you're
booking a lot of gigs, sir.
on the up and
He
up.
is the
boo.
man.
Okay.
All right.
Let's close it out with some interesting information.
Right, back to
we
last
spent a lot
week.
of time talking about watermelon up in here.
Yes, we did.
So it's Black History Month. Might as well talk about it again. So for those of you guys who have been following the Winter Olympic Games in Sochi, Russia, might have noticed something a little interesting. The Jamaican bobsled team of Winston Watts and Marvin Dixon jumped on their bobsleds with watermelons on their heads. If you don't know what that means, it means they had helmets with watermelons on them. So America just went crazy. Black folks in America were just up in arms.
They
Lord have
needed an
mercy. Why would you Jamaican black people on an international stage put watermelons on your head and ride down that tunnel or whatever it's called?
It's low-key a really cool helmet, though.
So I just can't even believe that it was like this for real. But so TMZ reported all the angry and hostile African Americans that were very upset that, you know, these Jamaicans would do this to our people. For those of you guys that are confused, because it is just watermelon, the watermelon stereotype basically is a unfortunate commentary to black people in America about that white people basically came up with the idea that slaves really were happy being slaves because all they really wanted to do was sit in the sunshine and be lazy and eat watermelon. So that's why it's sort of a condescending statement and et cetera. And we can delve into the depths of the watermelon commentary in this history in this country, but that's the history of America as we know it. And so everybody was upset and they asked the Jamaicans, like, what's going on? How dare you? Why would you put the freaking watermelons on your hat? And here was their response. I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep a straight face. Watermelon is not a thing in our homeland. I had no hesitation about wearing it on my head and sporting the helmets. One Jamaican source said, I don't know about any stereotype. All I know is we eat them, not put them on our head. So,
Okay.
there you go, guys. They didn't win. They didn't do very well, apparently. But
I mean, I guess if they don't know, they don't know. If that's not an issue in Jamaica, then I find it hard to believe that they've never heard the watermelon comments
What a choice, though.
at all, out of all choices. Yeah, I mean,
Like maybe a mango.
Maybe a
Well, their
mango.
colors, the colors of their flag are green and yellow. It matches. It looks great.
maybe
I think it
maybe a
has the-
pineapple, actually. Maybe, I don't know. It's tough. This is a tough
When
one
I
for me
saw it,
with
I
the
just
watermelon.
didn't even know what to say because I was like, "Oh, that's cute. It's a watermelon." Like,
But
I
like when
don't-
you first saw it, you saw watermelon. I saw Monster, like the energy drink.
Oh, I definitely saw watermelon.
I saw
immediately.
watermelon.
And I thought it was comical, but I wasn't offended. Like,
I wasn't offended.
I didn't think it was this god awful like projection of black people on the international stage. It's freaking watermelon. Like, I get it. And it's not. I would feel very different if it were an American bobsled team. Because I would feel like
Okay.
that is something that we just, it's
We
one
just
of those
know
things
that it's
we're supposed to know.
we're supposed
or
to
we're
know,
at least
yeah.
supposed to be aware of that this might communicate something that we maybe don't want to communicate about
right,
our country.
right.
But I mean, obviously there was slavery in Jamaica and in the islands and all over the place, but that sort of connotation of watermelon maybe doesn't apply there, and it's fair for them to wear a damn watermelon on their head. I don't.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a helmet.
It's a helmet. I mean, obviously, like I said, since we are American, my first thought when I saw it, I was like, oh, why'd they wear that? You know, but
They're Jamaican.
they're Jamaican. Okay. I mean, it's
There were other. I mean, people like wondered because they're like they went real deep, y'all. Like, well, watermelon's not an export of Jamaica, so like, why wouldn't they use sugar or bananas
Tobacco.
or coffee or rum? If they had rum on their heads, when we be mad, it's like black people and you got the liquor on
Yeah, I
your
might
head
be
like
mad
some
at
drunks.
that.
Like we'd be upset. So
Yeah.
I
Plus,
think
it's the Olympics.
I think it's a
Can't have no
designer.
rum on there.
Exactly.
That's true.
It matches their freaking flag. I don't think it was anything intense or something that we were reading. We're
Broccoli
reading way
next
too
year,
much into
guys.
it.
Broccoli.
Do broccoli instead.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Lime.
I side with the Jamaicans on this.
I'm kind of split down the middle. I wish they didn't wear it, but if they were, I will agree. If they were American, I would be a little bit more pissed off. But because they're Jamaican, I'm gonna let it slide a little bit. But I wish that they had chosen a different helmet. I will say that.
It's a good pun.
Yes.
Slide.
Thank you.
Let it slide.
Let it slide.
Let it slide.
All right.
There you go.
There you go. All right, those Jamaicans. Thank you, Courtney. Yeah. Well,
Wow.
yeah. Okay. Well, I want to remind everyone to go to iTunes and go and look up Black Hollywood Live shows. We have a variety of different shows from Fashion 411, The Beat, Portraits, Beauty You Can Buy, to Stand Up, Sit Down. And we actually are adding 10 new shows to our lineup, which you'll be able to listen to and watch in the next week or two. So definitely go to iTunes, give us a rating and comment, tell a friend. We've been getting some great comments from you guys, and it's definitely helping us to improve the show. So check us out and tell everyone about Black Hollywood Live. Moving on to Hot Topics. Well, you guys have been following that Jordan Davis story.
Unfortunately, yes.
And just for those who aren't as familiar with it, Jordan Davis was a young 17-year-old who was with his friends out in Florida, and a dispute happened because there was a gentleman by the name of Michael Dunn, a 47-year-old white man, who got into a confrontation with the young man over the music that they were playing. Apparently, Michael thought that their music was offensive and too loud, and a verbal dispute started, and then it turned into tragedy when Michael shot 8 times, I believe, 8 to 10 times at the Durango that the kids were driving, and ended up killing young Jordan Davis. Well, Michael has been convicted in the last couple weeks of several of the crimes, but this is what he's convicted for. Convicted of 3 counts of second-degree attempted murder, 1 count of firing into the vehicle, and escaped the first-degree murder charge. And a mistrial happened because there wasn't a decision that could be agreed upon because of that first-degree murder charge. His parents, Jordan Davis's parents, have gone on the circuit of just telling their story on how they feel about everything with the justice system, and they basically are calling for a retrial, and they also are saying that justice wasn't served. Mr. Dunn, who is now in jail, is also getting a lot of attention because there were tapes that were released of his, when he first got arrested back in November 2012, he had called his wife, he called his lawyer, and there were several tapes that have been released of him being recorded and telling his side of things, and they're not going over too well in the media. This is some of the things that Dunn has said. He compared himself to a rape victim, quote unquote. I was the one that was being preyed upon, and I fought back. It's not quite the same, but it's made me think of old TV shows and movies where the police used to think when a chick got raped, they were going, oh, it's her fault because of the way she dressed. He said, it's like it's my fault because I asked them to turn the music down. Oh. That was one of Mr. Dunn's quotes. He later on said, when the police said that these guys didn't have a record, I was like, I wonder if they were just flying under the radar because they were bad. He also said the police were to blame for him shooting the victims because he was just defending himself. Now,
from loud music?
From loud music, yes. Now, Jordan Davis's family, Lucia McBath and Ron Davis, have gone on the TV circuits, and they were, as I was mentioning, telling their side of the story and what they felt about the justice system. The family does believe that the jury and the prosecutors did the best that they could do, but said that because of the stand-up ground law, is why Dunn was not convicted. What do you guys think about the verdict, and also what do you guys think about just the releasing of those tapes from Michael Dunn?
I just think that law is just so dumb. It's just like, I mean, you can't even have a logical conversation about this trial because the law is there.
Yeah. What do you feel about that, stand your ground law though in Florida? I mean, we obviously saw what happened with
It's crazy.
Trayvon Martin, obviously, and this happened. This was what's crazy about this story is it actually happened before Trayvon Martin, because this was November 2012, and Trayvon was.
I think it happened after.
Was it after?
I think it happened. I'm pretty sure because Trayvon happened earlier in the year.
Oh, yeah, right. I think he
that's-
may in this
because they
this
were
was the
talking
second.
about whether or not they felt it was possible that he felt more empowered after having seen what happened with
That
George
might be
Zimmerman.
true,
So
yeah.
his trial, of course, hadn't happened, but I think the whole thing had
situation,
occurred
yeah.
at least in Florida. I mean, the most depressing thing of it all is hearing those tapes. How do you, whether or not you felt like you had to defend yourself, fine. I'll try to accept that. But the lack of any kind of remorse
At all.
or any kind of empathy or any kind of anything for the fact that you just killed somebody. And even if
I'm the victim.
yeah,
Like,
and even if you are the victim, like at that point you obviously survived. So like it's like, how are you not heartbroken that like, dang, I hurt somebody? Like, because even the worst drunk drivers, like they survive all the time, and a lot of them have survivor's guilt because they killed somebody.
Yeah.
Like it just, you still killed a child, and he has no regard, no
remorse.
anything for it, and it was disgusting to me that in addition to the release of those tapes, we also got a wonderful interview on CNN from freaking George Zimmerman basically saying the same kind of ish. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, it's disgusting. Like it actually is revolting and makes me want to vomit. But anyway, I can't, from what I can tell, I don't know everything about the laws in Florida and what happened and what have you. Like the jury did the best they could do with what they were given. And it's just really unfortunate that and there, a lot of the jurors, I think juror number, I don't remember, one is on the circuit kind of now
I think
talking
juror
about
number four
or something, and talking about how race wasn't even in the equation and all of that. And I just feel like we continue to exist in a place of denial about race in this country and
agree.
how people react to and why he really felt threatened, because it wasn't just the music. Would you have felt just as threatened if it was a car of white kids listening to rap music? And to say yes, I think would be a blatant lie.
Me too.
So, and Mark O'Meara, he was the George Zimmerman attorney, and he's commented on it quite a bit, and he's always supportive. He's like, black kids get treated real different in the system, and the fact that we keep ignoring that is just a joke, and it's going to continue to kill children because of that. So I just...
Did you hear that, Clarence Williams?
At some point...
what's his name? Jesse something from Grey's Anatomy.
Oh yeah, he
Jesse
went
Williams,
in.
right?
Jesse Williams.
Yeah, he has. There's a really cool YouTube clip of him.
Yeah.
Basically saying the same exact thing. Like if they were playing Bon Jovi, would they have been dead?
Yeah. And even Wayne Brady has gone on the circuit, and he said that he just fears for young black men because of the fact that this is starting to be such a just happening that
it's
occurs.
essentially being a sanctioned act under our
system.
jury
Yeah,
system.
it's
Like
crazy.
it's making it okay to, if you kill somebody, if you felt threatened, it's gonna be all right. Like you can take those guns out and shoot and not think and not have to worry about what's coming. And I'm not saying I don't support gun ownership in this country, but I think things like this are just making it that much more difficult to support the Second Amendment.
That law just doesn't even make sense.
I feel like
to me.
eventually, not just in Florida, but if these type of, at least like New York and those other places, stop and frisk, they're trying to implement things where these type of things don't occur as much. But I feel like it's gonna hit the melting pot like completely, where there's gonna be a riot in Florida if this keeps going. It can't keep going in this situation. And they were saying that it was a mistrial because the jurors couldn't prove the fact that they were threatening him. But the interesting thing about this is a lot of the evidence shows that he said that Jordan had a gun, or what he thought was a shotgun, I believe, or a gun, maybe not shotgun. And there's no real evidence that Jordan never had a gun. Like they haven't found anything. And
Skittles.
It's all very he said, she said. But I'm really surprised that with that evidence, that they couldn't lean more to giving him first degree murder.
I think the biggest issue, this goes to their, real upset with Angela Corey, the prosecutor, for choosing first degree murder, because there's some element of premeditation that has to be a part of that conviction. And supposedly that is the concern, that she actually overcharged and charged first degree murder when she shouldn't have, because the evidence didn't support premeditation, so to speak, especially when it comes to what juries sort of think of as premeditation. So I don't know if that in the end is what sort of made it like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then this whole possibility that there was something in the car that could have looked like a gun.
Right.
Who knows? But it's just real. We need to be worried. Like this should make people be like,
Yeah.
oh.
And the fact that, like we were saying, Michael Dunn has no remorse.
None.
The most remorse I've seen is actually from his daughter, who they interviewed,
and
who was bawling, and she actually
but she was remorseful because her daddy was in jail.
But to her credit, she was remorseful about that. But she also said that she understood. She said, you know what? It's equal. I understand. I'm mourning my dad going to jail for 60 years because he's 47. He won't get out till he's 103. He'll die in jail. And his daughter was saying, I won't see my dad, but at least my dad is there. Poor Jordan's family will never see their son again. So I have remorse for his family. So that was the most remorse that I saw from anything.
Anybody.
Michael hasn't given nothing. He's saying he's the victim. How dare he even compare himself to a rape victim? Are you kidding me?
It was astonishingly disgusting. But the other thing that is scary about this to me is that because the prosecutor's office wants to retry him for the first-degree murder charge because they're concerned that in the sentencing phase something could go awry with those other charges and he could actually walk.
Yeah.
So they want to convict him, make sure they get him convicted on the first-degree murder charge so that he definitely doesn't walk. And the idea that this man could walk free, I can't even. Because forget racism altogether. He's obviously a hothead with a gun that don't need to be in the street.
He is a threat to society.
He is a threat to society,
yes,
and he has no remorse. Yeah. So he's
the worst kind.
Some kind of sociopath.
Yeah.
That is not right in the head. So
I would forgive the ice cream man if he drives by.
I know. His music is too loud. He might get his little ice cream truck shut up.
And I respect his parents. I mean, you could just see as upset as his parents were, and obviously it should be, you could see that they still had a forgiveness for him. And his mom even said, Jordan Davis's mom said, the biggest problem is going to be him having to face himself for that time while he's in jail and realize basically the sins that he's done. And I'm like, he doesn't even care.
Himself, no.
Right. Now his dad, Ron kept it real. Ron said he wants to go visit him in jail and sit across from him face to face and ask him why he killed his son. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea because I feel like Ron, I feel like some New Jack City kind of situations happening on that one.
I'm not mad. I'm not. I did have the thought. I was like, I hope them people in jail tear him up.
Oh,
they
yeah.
will.
I hope they tear him up.
They will.
That will happen.
All right. Well, we hope that he does stay in jail.
They're gonna torture him. They're gonna blast
not to support violence.
They're gonna blast music in his room.
He was awful.
He was terrible. But God knows how to handle those situations. So we'll just keep it in that man's hands, I guess. All right, or woman's hands, whatever the God is. All right. Moving on. Next subject. We are in the midst of almost finishing up Black History Month, which is crazy. This month went by so quickly.
Started.
And there's been some what we call Black History Month fails that have occurred this week. The first being this week on Jeopardy, they had a college edition, and there was a category for African American history that was the last category picked by the 3 college students on Jeopardy. Arsenio Hall, who we spoke about a little bit earlier, he actually made a little bit of fun on it on his show, and here's a little clip from what occurred on Jeopardy.
Contestants Lori, Tucker, and Whitney had these categories in their double Jeopardy round.
I love the bow tie, Tucker. Let's see if it brings you luck in this double Jeopardy round. Here are the categories: weather verbs, international cinema showcase, talk nerdy to me, Kiwi fauna, and finally, African American history.
Those are pretty hard, especially Kiwi fauna. That sounds like, I don't even know what that is. It sounds like you might get it if you step on a rusty nail or something. Or the guy in Black Eyed Peas, is his name Kiwi fauna? Anyway, let's see where they were at the end of this round.
One category still in play.
African American history for 400, please.
They're laughing because they didn't have a choice but to pick the African American category, which they ended up going on to answer 3 out of the 5 questions correct. So I'll give them props for that.
I have no knowledge of black people for 1,000, Alex.
And as you can hear or see, Arsenio Hall made a lot of fun of that situation. I want to open up this discussion on the lack of knowledge that people have about African American history. Now, I initially wanted to start the conversation off by saying that it was non-African Americans, but that was trumped by this next clip I want to show you of how much knowledge even African Americans have about Black History Month. So Charlemagne the Guide, he has an MTV show, and he had this little research study that he wanted to complete where he went around the subways of New York City to ask people specific questions about African American history and people. And here's a little clip from that study. Which we'll play in 2 seconds.
We buffering.
We're buffering. All right, here we go.
Not much.
You black though?
Not much.
Well, I've seen you celebrated Black History Month before. You know it's Black History Month, right?
Yes.
Even though you're beige. I'm gonna see how well you know your Black history. You know who that is?
Of course.
You can't say of course and then say,
I can't think of his name.
You've had sex with a black man and had him, so it's fine if you don't know.
The original Tookie Williams.
The original Tookie Williams. Yes, you're absolutely right. Listen, young man, this is Malcolm X, okay? He used to have sex with a lot of white women like your mom, but then he went to jail and he changed his ways. Hey, he's Black History Month out. He got the afro, the glasses. Assalamu alaikum, my brother.
What?
You know who that is?
I don't know who that is. Who is that?
Think public transportation. Was a little tired and didn't want to stand up.
That's Rosa. Who don't know Rosa?
Spanish lady.
Spanish?
Wow.
Have
Wow.
you ever, had any encounters with black people ever in your life? Who's this guy?
That's not a guy.
Who is this?
Was she on Celebrity Apprentice?
Yes, she was.
We all know who that is.
Oh yeah, that's Michelle.
Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama.
She looks a little flabby and sick right here.
Yeah, well, you know, just can't work out her face.
You know who that is?
Wow.
Tyler Perry.
Oh, Tyler Perry.
That's that guy that plays that woman in that movie.
Why everybody know Tyler Perry, but you don't know Rosa Parks and Malcolm?
He's getting a lot of people work.
Black people, you mean?
Black people and, yeah, black people.
Yeah.
Our remaining friends on MTV.
So that was a summary of a quick summary of Charlemagne going around the city and asking people. What he was doing is going around with pictures. He had Rosa Parks, he had Tyler Perry, he had Malcolm X, and he would stop random people and ask them questions on if they knew who this person was. And as you could hear or see, those were some of the answers that people were giving, and they were extremely wrong in some cases. Here, just the kind of the top line, a lot of the people did not know the faces of Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, but they knew Tyler Perry. One even thought that Malcolm X was Stanley Tookie Williams, who was one of the leaders of the Crips who was executed in 2005, grant you. And another mistook Condoleezza Rice for Michelle Obama. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, my peoples, right here?
We got to do better, y'all.
We got to do better. Can I tell you what? I bet you if somebody put up the top rap songs, people would know, the rap artist or the lyrics. Oh. We gotta start educating ourselves a little better. I'm not saying I'm the best at Black history, but yeah. I know who Rosa Parks is and Condoleezza Rice.
I don't know if this is like I don't know if I like that they made it into like a Black history thing, because I do think that obviously that does need to be, but I think it just takes it to American history. Because
I give you that.
Agreed.
All these people, honestly, like when I used to work at Madame Tussauds. It's a celebrity wax museum.
I love that place.
And they have this room of like the greats. And I remember walking in there, and I would just work those long shifts, walking around, and I started reading and being like, "Who the hell is this?" There were a lot of people that I was like, "Oh, that's who did that." And I just think it's more of an American history. I think that we don't take it seriously. I think that it's, I don't know. I hated history. I hated the way that it was taught to me. I thought it was boring. I don't know. So I just think we as a country need to do better. And I think it was really unfair for them to be asking that one guy who didn't even sound like he was American.
I mean, Courtney, go ahead.
I mean, it's hard for me to like watch this. I'm a self-proclaimed like nerd, and history was probably my favorite subject in school. Like, I love it. I know a lot about it. I would never be caught not knowing who Malcolm X is. Like, and that, I think my issue is that it's like major
huge
players
people.
that like we've seen repeatedly, and I think that part of me wants to think that it's just because our brains are in a different place in this country. I feel like we are in a entertainment, consumer, celebrity type culture, and it's just that we don't value those things anymore in the way that maybe we should, or maybe we shouldn't. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't actually matter at all. I do agree with the quote, the whole like know your history, not knowing your history, if you don't don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it kind of thing. So I personally think that knowing that is important and why we should place value on it. But we live in a different world. Like, it's technology and it's what's next and what's new, not what was. And I don't, part of that's what helps us move forward in certain ways. So maybe it's not so horrible that these people don't know these things.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not judging. I think it's kind of sad just because there's so much to be gained from knowing it and from learning about it. So I would just be like, come on, guys, like, read a book. Just read a book and teach your kids. Like,
Google.
You're a white woman with your black son. Like,
educate him.
Let him know a little something about
the
where he came from and why how he was able to get here without, his dad being lynched for making him with his mom. Like, those kind of things are special and important, and maybe we should put a little more value on them than we do.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not judging. I don't know the education of the people that they asked on, in the subway. I agree with what you're saying, Courtney, in the sense of I just think that there's a certain knowledge of just certain key figures that you should know.
Yeah.
Know Rosa Parks.
Yes.
I mean, I even say, no Tyler Perry, sure. No Oprah, but also no,
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X. I mean, those general people, I think everyone should know. Now, last week, we did a special. You guys should go check it out. You can listen on iTunes or go to YouTube or go to our site. But we had a show on basically Black History Month pretty much last week for all of our shows at Black Hollywood Live. And there were a lot of things that I learned. That we have a show called Geek Nerd Tech, that there was a lot of African Americans inventors for certain things. I had no idea. I'm not saying we have to know, we will know those things without reading
them forever. Yeah.
But what makes me a little sad, and this is funny to watch, but not really funny. It's kind of sad in the sense of, we've talked about stories where they're trying to implement rap music into school programs where kids can retain certain things with history or making it relevant and that type of thing. And I just feel like we're putting so much emphasis on that. We should also know certain key things about the history. We have to obviously move forward, and we can't just rely on what's gone in the past because we're in the future. But there are certain things I feel like just as a young kid or a person, especially people that they were asking around the ages that they are, that it looks like they're, around people who should know who these people are. We need to, whatever we need to do to start educating people more about those type of things, because we have a black president, we have people of power, we have, black presidents of corporations. We need to start knowing those things and not just the fun side of things, like knowing who Jay-Z is or Beyonce's new song. I mean, that's great too, but we need to know our leaders and people who are making change in our community as well.
And that's because and I agree with you, Jesse, in terms of like it not just being about Black history a little bit.
Yeah,
I
agree.
think we would pull out presidents' pictures and people would be like, who is that?
Right,
That's
for sure.
John Adams? Like, who's that? And I think for me, at least, the issue with that, along with the fact that I just think we should have a well-rounded education in general.
Totally.
But things like the way this country was built and how it was built and formed, and things like who wrote the Constitution and what is really in the Constitution and what that means, as boring as that can be, learning that in school, as an adult now, those things apply in ways that you don't imagine, because right now, a lot of our rights are being put into question.
Yeah.
These privacy rights, the fact that the government's involved in our telephone conversations and things like that, and the arguments over guns. All of that revolves around where we came from, what this country was supposedly built on, and the argument of whether or not the forefathers meant this versus they meant this, and those types of things. And all those things shape things that are happening to us right now that it's easy to check out of, because it's easy to just want to watch Medea and like not care.
Sure.
But at some point, when your son's being shot by a man who has a gun in his glove compartment because he has the right to bear arms, and then there's a debate over whether or not that is actually a right, or is that actually just a privilege that you should have if you've met certain criteria, is a for real argument, and things that you need to know where we came from to fix where the hell we're going.
Where we're going,
You gotta wake up, make it happen.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, like I said, it's kind of sad. You know what? We should start doing parties. We should do Black History parties
learn
where you
something about
learn
Negroes
something new.
party.
It doesn't have to be Black History. It could just be a history party. You got 5 just Black History questions. You got 5 regular history questions.
Trivial Pursuit.
You know what I'm saying?
A history party. Because the bottom line is we're all in
this
and
together.
All our history is a combined history. It's just that we were forced to separate it because they didn't want to add the stuff
They
about
didn't
the
wanna add
Native
it.
Americans, about the black folks, and all of that.
Yeah, we just need to honestly rewrite history.
Yeah.
That's
And-
really all it comes down to. And until then, we're going to keep making these. We're still going to keep dealing with this.
Yeah, because if you
until someone sits down and says, you know what, all right, this is bullshit. Let's
fix
just
these
really
books
change
and
these
make
books."
it work.
Yeah,
Or fix
if
these
you-
iPads because we ain't
fix these
nobody
iPads,
reading
right.
books no more.
Yeah, because I mean that's a good point. Because if you ask me certain history about Indian culture, I wouldn't know, and I should know. You know, I would like to know. I need to know. This is not just about black and white either. We talked about this last week with the Vanity Fair cover, where people were criticizing that because it features primarily people of color, African Americans, versus other races like Indians and Asians and whoever may be, you know, other races. So we need to do that and implement that with our history too. We need to know each other's history. So that's the lesson for today on this week.
Learn your history.
Learn your history.
Google
All right,
something.
Google something. Learn
one
something.
thing
Learn
today.
one thing. You know, that's what I'm saying. Teach yourself a new word every day. That's what I
That's
say.
really fun.
That actually is fun, and use it in a sentence too. I like to do
Yeah.
that. All right, thank you guys for tuning in to this week. Remember to go to the buzzer meter question, which is, what was the first American colony to abolish slavery? Here are the multiple choices. A, Pennsylvania, B, Massachusetts Bay, C, Vermont, D, Delaware. You guys let us know the answer. We'll read the results next week. Courtney, where can your fans find you?
Find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stuart Starlet.
Jesse?
At DJ Jesse J.
And you can find me at Dario Kristen on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We will see you next week, and have a wonderful weekend.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Dario Kristen, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network. If you have questions or comments, tweet us at BHL Online or email us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. For more exclusive content, visit blackhollywoodlive.com. This has been a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network.
Hollywood redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.
Thanks for watching Black Hollywood Live on YouTube. For more in-depth interviews and news, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion in the comment section below here. See you soon, everyone. Bye.